In the wild, beauty is rarely an invitation. More often, it is a warning carefully disguised. Think of a mushroom rising from the forest floor. Vivid colors, perfect symmetry. Something that looks as if it belongs in a fairy tale. And yet, a single bite can paralyze the nervous system and stop a human heart before the brain fully understands what went wrong. The Earth operates in much the same way. The difference is scale. Its traps are not measured in seconds, but in geology, climate, and time. There are places on this planet that are not dangerous because they are hostile. They are dangerous because they are completely indifferent. Oceans that can crush steel hulls without slowing down. Mountains where the air itself refuses to keep you alive. Islands, roads, volcanoes, and stretches of land where one small miscalculation is enough to turn a journey into a disappearance. In these places, there is no killer, no motive, no crime scene, only natural laws functioning with cold precision. This is not a travel guide, and this is not a list of extreme destinations to conquer. This is a case file of 30 locations on Earth, places so visually stunning that humans repeatedly underestimate them. Places where going alone means no witnesses, no second chances, and no margin for error. Where rescue is unlikely, explanations come too late, and survival depends entirely on respect for forces far older than us. Watch not to challenge them. Listen not to romanticize them. Because in these places, the line between survival and oblivion is thinner than a strand of silk, and the Earth will not pause, negotiate, or forgive if you step across it. Rising from the mist along the coast of Normandy, Mont Saint-Michel appears less like a place and more like a mirage. A stone island, crowned with spires, floating above a vast silver plain. For more than 1,000 years, pilgrims have crossed this open landscape on foot, drawn toward what looks peaceful, sacred, and still. But the bay surrounding Mont Saint-Michel is not empty ground. It is a mechanism. Beneath the surface lies a deceptive mixture of fine clay and salt water that forms patches of quicksand. At first, the ground feels solid. Then, it begins to loosen. With every movement, the sand liquefies, tightening its grip. The natural instinct is to struggle. That instinct is what seals the outcome. The more a person fights, the deeper the sand pulls them down, locking legs in place like concrete setting around bone. And the bay does not allow time for mistakes. Mont Saint-Michel experiences one of the highest tidal ranges on Earth. When the tide returns, it does not arrive gently. Victor Hugo once described it as charging like a galloping horse. In reality, the water level can rise by nearly 15 meters, almost 50 feet, transforming dry land into open sea with alarming speed. Channels vanish, landmarks disappear, the horizon itself changes shape. Someone trapped in the sand does not drown immediately. First comes the cold, then exhaustion, then the realization that the water is moving faster than help ever could. By the time the tide reaches the island walls, escape routes are gone. The abbey remains untouched, elevated and eternal, while the surrounding bay resets itself clean, silent, and empty. No struggle marks the surface. No trace remains to explain what happened. Mont Saint-Michel is not dangerous because it is chaotic. It is dangerous because it is precise. It has been doing this for centuries, and it will continue long after the next visitor mistakes beauty for safety. Angel's Landing rises from the heart of Zion National Park like a blade of stone, pushed upward from the canyon floor. From a distance, it looks serene, almost inviting. Sunlit sandstone, clean lines, a summit that promises one of the most spectacular views in the American Southwest. The danger is not hidden, it is simply underestimated. The final section of the trail narrows into a spine of exposed rock, barely wider than a sidewalk. On both sides, the cliffs drop away nearly 1,500 feet straight down into the canyon. There are no guardrails, no barriers, only a single metal chain bolted into the stone, installed not as protection, but as a last option. Here, the threat is not speed or strength, it is hesitation. Thousands of hikers attempt this route every year, many without technical climbing experience. Fatigue sets in, legs shake, palms sweat against cold metal. A gust of wind, a loose patch of sand, or a moment of vertigo is all it takes. The human body does not need to fall far to die, but here it falls far enough to erase doubt. What makes Angel's Landing especially lethal is its psychology. The trail does not feel dangerous at first. It builds confidence slowly, encouraging people forward step by step, until turning back feels harder than continuing. Crowds worsen the risk. One misstep by a stranger can force another hiker to shift their weight at exactly the wrong moment. Rescue is rarely an option. There is no place for helicopters to land, no room for error. Falls are often fatal on impact, leaving no opportunity for intervention, only recovery. The name comes from an early explorer who claimed only an angel could land on the summit. Modern visitors treat that as a challenge rather than a warning. Angel's Landing does not lure people with deception. It kills through overconfidence. In a place where the margin for error is measured in inches, the human instinct to push forward becomes the most dangerous force on the mountain. The name Fairy Meadows suggests safety, soft grass, mountain air, a place untouched by violence. But before anyone reaches those meadows, They must pass through the only access route, an unpaved mountain road carved into the unstable flank of Nanga Parbat, a peak known simply as the Killer Mountain. This road is not unfinished. It is complete, and that is the problem. Stretching for nearly 16 kilometers, Fairy Meadows Road clings to the mountainside like a scar. There is no asphalt, no guardrails. In many sections, it is barely wide enough for a single vehicle. On one side, a sheer rock wall. On the other, a vertical drop that plunges thousands of feet into the valley below. The margin for error is measured in inches. Local drivers navigate this route with practiced calm, but for outsiders, the experience is psychologically destabilizing. Loose gravel shifts under the tires. The sound of stones crumbling beneath the wheels travels directly through the chassis, making every turn feel like the last. Passing another vehicle often requires one driver to reverse along the edge, trusting memory rather than sight. Here, speed is irrelevant. Control is an illusion. A stalled engine, a blown tire, or a moment of hesitation can trigger a chain reaction that ends instantly. Vehicles do not roll gently here. Gravity takes over without negotiation. Once a car leaves the road, there is no recovery, no second impact, only disappearance. Rescue operations are nearly impossible. The terrain is too steep for conventional recovery equipment. Helicopters are grounded by weather or altitude. In many cases, there is nothing to retrieve but debris scattered far below, beyond visibility and beyond reach. Fairy Meadows Road is often called the most dangerous road in the world. Not because accidents happen frequently, but because when they do, the outcome is final. The mountain does not react. It does not remember. Nanga Parbat has earned its name over centuries, and this road is simply one more way it reminds humans that access does not equal permission. Cutting straight through the jagged spine of the Ko'olau Mountains on Oahu is a structure that looks almost unreal. A narrow line of metal steps climbing vertically into the clouds. From a distance, it resembles a ladder leading out of the world. They call it the stairway to heaven. It was never meant for you to be there. The stairway was built during World War II by the US Navy to access a classified radio transmission facility. It was designed for trained personnel under strict control, with maintenance crews and safety protocols. When the military abandoned the site, the structure was left behind, exposed to decades of tropical rain, salt air, and wind. What remains is a skeleton. Nearly 4,000 metal steps cling to a razor-thin ridge. Rust eats through bolts and railings. Sections shake under body weight. In many places, the stairs tilt outward toward open air, where the mountains fall away into deep green valleys on both sides. There are no guardrails designed to stop a fall, only corroded handrails that may fail when needed most. The route has been officially closed and illegal for years. That does not stop people. Those who attempt the climb face a danger that cannot be predicted from the ground: wind. Pacific trade winds accelerate as they funnel through the mountain gap, striking the ridge without warning. Gusts can arrive strong enough to knock a person off balance, especially when combined with fatigue, rain-slick metal, and altitude-induced dizziness. Here, falling is not dramatic. It is immediate. Rescue is difficult and often delayed. Clouds roll in quickly, eliminating visibility. Helicopters cannot always approach the narrow ridge. Injured climbers may wait hours, exposed and unstable, while conditions worsen around them. The stairway to heaven offers no single moment of failure. It works through accumulation, rust, weather, exhaustion, and the false confidence that comes from reaching just one more step. This is not a path to the sky. It is a decaying tightrope, suspended between gravity and human stubbornness, where the margin for survival disappears one rung at a time. Badwater Basin sits at the lowest point in North America, 86 meters below sea level. On a map, it looks unremarkable, a white expanse in the middle of the desert. Flat, open, empty, the kind of place that feels safe because nothing appears to be happening. That stillness is the threat. Surrounded by steep mountain walls, Death Valley functions like a natural convection oven. Solar heat enters the basin and has nowhere to escape. Air becomes dense and oppressive, pressing down on the body rather than cooling it. In summer, ground temperatures can exceed those of boiling water, while the air itself holds the record for the highest, reliably measured temperature on Earth. Here, the human body fails quietly. Sweat evaporates almost instantly, preventing the skin from feeling wet. The brain misinterprets this as cooling, delaying the thirst response. Meanwhile, internal temperature continues to rise. Blood thickens, organs begin to shut down. Judgment deteriorates long before pain becomes severe enough to trigger panic. People underestimate Badwater Basin because it lacks drama. There are no cliffs, no predators, no sudden movements. Most fatalities follow the same pattern: a short walk that becomes longer than expected, a misjudged supply of water, a belief that help or shade is just ahead. Vehicles overheat, engines fail, cell signals vanish. The distance between landmarks stretches under the heat, and direction loses meaning across the blinding salt flats. rescue operations are limited by the same conditions that endanger victims. Extreme heat grounds helicopters and exhausts responders. By the time a missing person is located, dehydration and hypothermia have often progressed beyond recovery. Badwater Basin does not trap people, it allows them to walk in. The desert does not rush, it does not pursue. It simply waits while the body exhausts its own resources, one physiological system at a time. In a place named Death Valley, the warning is not hidden. It is written into the land itself. High on the granite face of Mount Hua, one of China's 5 sacred peaks, there is a path that challenges the definition of the word trail. It does not wind, it does not protect, it does not forgive. This is the plank walk. The route consists of narrow wooden boards bolted directly into a sheer vertical cliff. The planks are weathered, darkened by decades of moisture and rot, and in some places barely wide enough to fit a single foot. There are no guardrails, no platforms, only open air and a cold iron chain anchored into the rock as the sole point of contact. Here, there is no margin for error. The danger of the plank walk is not cumulative, it is immediate. A slip, a moment of dizziness, or a misplacement of weight does not lead to injury. It leads to a fall measured in hundreds of meters. The mountain face drops away cleanly, offering nothing to interrupt gravity's work. What makes this path especially lethal is the environment surrounding it. Wind accelerates as it moves along the cliff face, pushing outward rather than upward. Moisture condenses on the wood, turning each plank slick without warning. Hands sweat, muscles tense. Fatigue sets in long before the body admits it. Legend claims Taoist monks once built this route while seeking immortality. Modern visitors arrive for photographs and adrenaline, often underestimating the psychological strain. The human brain reacts poorly to prolonged exposure over voids. Depth perception distorts. Balance becomes unreliable. Fear tightens muscles at exactly the moment flexibility is required. Rescue is largely theoretical. There is nowhere to stand, nowhere to stabilize an injured person. Any attempt to help carries the same risk as the fall itself. The plank walk does not threaten. It presents a simple equation: maintain control or disappear. On Mount Hua, survival depends entirely on one thing: continuous, flawless attention. The mountain does not care how carefully you planned to walk back. Before any climber can approach the summit of Mount Everest, they must first pass through its most lethal gate, a single mile of terrain responsible for more deaths than any other section of the mountain. This is the Khumbu Icefall. It is not a slope, it is a moving structure. The icefall is a river of ice flowing slowly but relentlessly over a steep cliff, shifting up to 1 meter every single day. That movement tears the glacier apart, opening massive crevasses some wide enough to swallow entire teams without sound. What looks solid in the morning may be gone by afternoon. To cross it, Sherpa guides construct temporary routes using aluminum ladders lashed together with rope. These ladders span bottomless blue cracks, flexing under weight, swaying with every step. Climbers move across them while wearing crampons, steel spikes biting into narrow rungs, forced to balance while staring into depths that offer no visible end. But the greatest danger hangs above. Towering blocks of ice, known as seracs, loom over the route, some as large as apartment buildings. They are formed by pressure, fractured by movement, and held in place by nothing permanent. There is no warning when they collapse, no sound, no vibration. One moment the icefall exists as it always has, the next it does not. When failure occurs, survival is unlikely. Ice moves faster than reaction. Rescue teams cannot reach victims buried beneath tons of shattered glacier. Helicopters are often grounded by altitude, weather, or debris clouds. In many cases, bodies are never recovered, slowly becoming part of the mountain itself. What makes the Khumbu icefall uniquely cruel is its indifference to experience. It kills novices and experts alike. Preparation does not guarantee safety. Timing offers only probability, never certainty. Every climber knows this before stepping onto the ice, and yet they step anyway. The Khumbu icefall does not test skill or courage. It tests acceptance of a place where the rules change constantly, and survival depends on passing through before the mountain decides to rearrange itself. K2 rises from the Karakoram Range like a black pyramid carved against the sky. It is the second highest mountain on Earth, but height is not what gives it its reputation. K2 is feared because it offers no mercy, no easy passage, and no room for improvisation. Mount Everest allows negotiation. K2 does not. Every route up K2 is steep. There are no gradual slopes, no extended plateaus where climbers can recover. Ice, rock, and exposure dominate from base camp upward, forcing every movement to be deliberate and technical. Even reaching the mountain is an expedition through isolation, weather systems, and unstable terrain, long before the climb begins. For decades, the statistics told a brutal story. Roughly 1 in 4 climbers who reached the summit never returned. Modern equipment has improved survival rates, but the mountain's character has not changed. Sudden storms trap climbers in hurricane-force winds. Temperatures plunge without warning. Visibility vanishes, erasing routes that existed hours earlier. K2 also kills from within. The The mountain constantly sheds itself. Rockfall is common, triggered by warming ice and shifting pressure. Stones, the size of cars, tear down known routes with the sound of artillery, leaving no time to react. Higher up, in the death zone above 8,000 meters, the human body begins to fail even without injury. Oxygen starvation degrades judgment, slows reflexes, and turns small mistakes into irreversible decisions. Rescue is almost non-existent. Helicopters cannot reach the upper slopes. Fellow climbers are already operating at their physiological limit. When something goes wrong, the mountain simply absorbs the outcome. What separates K2 from other peaks is not a single lethal feature, but the absence of forgiveness. There is no safe day, no safe route, no moment when the mountain relaxes its grip. K2 does not lure climbers with illusion. It confronts them openly and then waits. Those who step onto its flanks understand the terms. Survival is possible, but never guaranteed. And the mountain does not record intentions, only results. Ilulissat Ice Fjord looks impossibly calm, a cathedral of ice stretching toward the horizon, filled with towering blue-white sculptures drifting in silence. Boats slow their engines here. People lower their voices. From a distance, it feels like watching time itself move at a respectful pace. That silence is deceptive. The fjord is fed by the Surmek Glacier, one of the fastest-moving glaciers on Earth. Every day, it pushes forward tens of meters, forcing immense blocks of ancient ice into the narrow channel. The process is relentless, invisible, and irreversible. Pressure builds until the glacier releases it in a single violent act, calving. When a block of ice breaks free, it does not fall, it detonates. Pieces the size of buildings collapse into the dark water with explosive force, displacing millions of tons of seawater in seconds. The impact sends shockwaves through the fjord, generating powerful waves that radiate outward in all directions. Distance does not equal safety here. A boat positioned too close can be lifted, spun, or capsized by sudden surges. Smaller vessels are especially vulnerable, caught broadside by waves that appear without warning. Along the shoreline, hikers and photographers often stand on elevated rock, assuming height protects them. It does not. The waves rebound off the fjord walls, rising unpredictably and sweeping across areas that appeared dry moments earlier. Cold finishes what force begins. The water temperature hovers near freezing year-round. Anyone pulled in experiences immediate cold shock. Muscles seize. Breathing becomes involuntary and uncontrollable. Even strong swimmers lose coordination within seconds, long before hypothermia fully sets in. Rescue is constrained by geography and time. Boats cannot approach unstable ice fields during active calving. Helicopters face unpredictable air currents and limited landing options. Survival windows are measured in minutes, not hours. Ilulissat Isefjord does not chase people. It does not threaten. It simply releases energy stored over centuries, indifferent to who happens to be watching when the ice decides to break. In a place shaped by slow motion, death arrives all at once, loud, sudden, and irreversible. The Danakil Depression is one of the lowest and hottest places on Earth, a vast scar in northeastern Ethiopia, where three tectonic plates are slowly tearing the planet apart. From above, it looks alien fields of yellow sulfur, acid-green pools, and salt plains stretching toward a shimmering horizon. This is not a landscape shaped for life. It is a system operating beyond biological tolerance. Surface temperatures here regularly exceed 50 degrees Celsius, and in some areas, the ground itself reaches far higher. Heat radiates upward from below and downward from the sun, leaving the body with nowhere to release energy. Sweat becomes useless. Dehydration begins immediately, long before thirst registers as danger. The air compounds the threat. Volcanic gases seep constantly from fissures in the earth, releasing sulfur dioxide and other toxic compounds. Breathing becomes shallow and labored, as lungs struggle against both heat and chemistry. Prolonged exposure burns the respiratory tract, while fine mineral dust coats the throat and eyes, accelerating exhaustion and disorientation. Movement in the Danakil is deceptive. The terrain appears flat and manageable, but distances distort under heat haze. Landmarks seem close until hours pass without progress. Vehicles overheat, electronics fail, navigation errors compound quickly, and once water supplies are depleted, survival time collapses from days to hours. Medical emergencies here are unforgiving. Heat stroke progresses rapidly, shutting down the brain's ability to regulate temperature. Confusion gives way to loss of consciousness. Without immediate cooling and hydration, both nearly impossible in this environment, organ failure follows. Rescue is rare and difficult. Infrastructure is minimal. Communication is unreliable. Extreme conditions limit both ground and aerial response. Many who perish are never formally recorded. Their deaths absorbed into a landscape where disappearance is expected rather than exceptional. The Danakil Depression does not ambush. It does not surprise. It overwhelms through consistency, unbroken heat, constant exposure, and the absence of relief. This is not a place where mistakes are punished. It is a place where human presence itself is the mistake, and the environment corrects it without hesitation. Downstream from the roar and spectacle of Niagara Falls, the river makes a sharp, unnatural turn. What follows is not another waterfall, but something far less forgiving. This is the Niagara Whirlpool. From above, it looks almost beautiful. A wide, teal-colored circle, rotating slowly between rocky walls, calm enough to appear controlled. But this movement is an illusion created by scale. The volume of water entering the gorge is so immense that it cannot flow forward. Instead, it turns inward on itself. The result is a hydraulic trap. Water here accelerates to nearly 30 miles per hour, spiraling into a counterclockwise vortex that plunges more than 38 meters deep. The force generated is not turbulent chaos, but sustained pressure, constant, grinding, and absolute. Objects pulled in do not simply pass through. They are held, rotated, and broken down over time. This section of the river is classified as Class VI Rapids. In practical terms, that designation means unnavigable. Attempting to enter is considered suicidal. Logs sucked into the whirlpool have been documented remaining trapped for weeks, slowly stripped into splinters before being released downstream. A human body offers far less resistance. Once caught, escape becomes physically impossible. Swimming strength is irrelevant. Boats lose steering instantly. The current dictates every movement. Survival windows are measured in seconds. Even if a victim reaches the surface, the outward current along the edges prevents escape. The whirlpool recirculates its contents, forcing anything inside back toward the center again and again. Exhaustion follows quickly. Inhalation of water becomes inevitable. Rescue is limited to observation. The steep gorge walls make access nearly impossible. Rescue lines cannot reach the core of the vortex. Helicopters cannot hover safely above the unstable air currents created by the spinning water. In most cases, responders can do nothing but wait for the river to decide when or if it will release what it has taken. The Niagara Whirlpool does not chase. It does not surge. It waits in continuous motion, a reminder that even after the falls have ended, the river has not finished using its power. Here, water is not a path forward. It is a closed system, and once inside, there is no exit. Zultstraumen is not a storm. It happens on schedule. Every 6 hours, as the tide rises and falls along the Norwegian coast, nearly 400 million cubic meters of seawater are forced through a narrow strait, barely 150 meters wide. The pressure is too great for the water to pass cleanly. Instead, it tears itself apart. What forms on the surface looks almost cosmic, a field of spinning vortexes, dark blue funnels opening and closing like pupils in the sea. Some reach 10 meters across, deep enough to pull the surface downward into visible cavities. From the bridge above, it appears mesmerizing, orderly, rhythmic, contained. On the water, it is none of those things. Once a vessel enters the active current, engines lose relevance, steering becomes meaningless. The hull is seized by rotational force and dragged sideways, then inward, toward the strongest flow. Small boats are spun violently, slammed against each other, or pulled under by collapsing vortexes that form and vanish without warning. Humans in the water do not float here. They are accelerated. The current can exceed 40 kilometers per hour, stripping heat from the body and overwhelming any attempt to swim. Cold shock hits instantly. Muscles lock, breathing becomes erratic. Even if a person avoids being pulled under, exhaustion sets in within seconds as the water continues to rotate them against their will. Rescue is almost entirely passive. By the time emergency services are alerted, the tide has already decided the outcome. Lines cannot be thrown accurately. Boats cannot hold position. Helicopters face unstable air columns, rising from the churning surface below. Survivors are rare, and recovery often occurs far from the point of entry, if it occurs at all. Saltstraumen is often called the strongest tidal current on Earth. That description understates the reality. This is not water moving from one place to another. It is water trapped in forced motion, obeying physics without interruption. At Saltstraumen, the sea does not carry you away. It keeps you until the tide decides to let go. The Drake Passage is not defined by land. That is what makes it lethal. This stretch of ocean lies between the southern tip of South America and Antarctica, a gap where the Atlantic and Pacific collide without a single continent to slow them down. Wind circles the globe here uninterrupted, building momentum across thousands of kilometers before crashing into this narrow corridor. The result is controlled violence. Waves in the Drake Passage routinely rise to 15 meters, stacking into gray walls that move with relentless force. The sea does not roll, it heaves. Vessels are lifted, dropped, and twisted in every direction, erasing any stable sense of up or down. Sailors call it the Drake Shake, but the name disguises the reality of sustained physical assault. Gravity loses consistency here. Inside a ship, people are thrown against walls, ceilings, and each other. Injuries occur not from a single impact, but from repetition. Bones bruised, joints wrenched, muscles torn. Seasickness escalates beyond nausea into dehydration and collapse, leaving the body too weak to regulate temperature or respond to emergencies. And emergencies are common. Equipment fails under constant stress. Navigation becomes difficult as visibility vanishes behind curtains of spray and foam. In severe conditions, decks are swept clean by waves that carry unsecured objects and people straight into the sea. Survival after falling overboard is unlikely. Cold shock in the Southern Ocean incapacitates within seconds, and recovery operations are often impossible. Rescue is not immediate. There is no nearby coast, no alternate route, no shelter. Crossing the Drake Passage is mandatory for reaching Antarctica by sea. There is no safer option, only varying degrees of tolerance from the ocean itself. Even modern icebreakers, designed for polar travel, pitch and roll at angles that strain their structural limits. The Drake Passage does not choose its victims. It wears them down. Here, danger is not a moment, it is duration. Hours or days of unbroken motion, where the sea tests how long a human body and mind can endure instability before something gives. In the Southern Ocean, survival depends not on winning, but on lasting long enough for the water to release you. Tehupo'o does not look like a wave. It looks like a wall. Off the southern coast of Tahiti, the ocean behaves in a way that defies instinct. Instead of rising and breaking gradually, the water folds over itself, forming a thick, glassy slab that moves with crushing weight. Surfers call it the heaviest wave on Earth, not because of its height, but because of its mass. That mass has nowhere to go but down. What makes Tehupo'o lethal is what lies beneath it. Just inches below the surface sits a razor-sharp coral reef, hardened like concrete and etched with edges capable of tearing through skin, muscle, and bone. There is no cushion here, no depth to absorb impact. Falling at Tehupo'o is not falling into water, it is being driven into stone. The wave's power pins victims underwater with sustained force. Unlike other breaks that release quickly, Tehupo'o holds down anything caught beneath it, pressing bodies against the reef while the next wave builds above. Lungs empty. Panic accelerates oxygen loss. Even experienced surfers struggle to orient themselves as turbulence disorients direction and distance. Injuries are often catastrophic. Coral lacerations shred flesh and introduce infection almost immediately. Broken bones are common. Concussions occur when heads strike the reef with repeated force. In some cases, surfers are held down long enough to drown before they ever resurface. Rescue is complicated by speed and proximity. Jet skis must operate within meters of breaking waves, timing entry with precision. One miscalculation turns rescuers into victims. Medical aid is delayed by distance from shore and the severity of trauma sustained on impact. Teahupo'o attracts professionals because it offers no illusion. It does not pretend to be safe. But confidence is not immunity. Every wave is different. Every drop is a negotiation with physics that cannot be repeated exactly. Timing errors measured in fractions of a second determine outcomes measured in lifetimes. At Teahupo'o, the ocean does not test courage. It tests precision, and when precision fails, the reef delivers the verdict immediately, without spectacle, without mercy, and without a second chance. The Pantanal is the largest tropical wetland on Earth. During the dry season, it appears open and manageable wide plains, slow rivers, and grasslands that stretch to the horizon. But when the rains arrive, the landscape dissolves. Land becomes water. Boundaries disappear. For months at a time, the Pantanal transforms into a flooded labyrinth, where movement is restricted to boats and narrow channels. The still surface reflects the sky, creating the illusion of calm. Beneath it exists one of the highest concentrations of wildlife on the planet, compressed into shrinking islands of dry ground. Predators adapt faster than people. Jaguars here have learned to swim silently, moving through water with the ease of otters. They hunt along riverbanks and flooded forests, dragging prey from the edge without warning. Capybaras, caimans, and deer vanish in seconds, leaving only ripples behind. At night, the scale of danger becomes visible. A single sweep of a flashlight across the water ignites the darkness. Hundreds of orange points stare back the reflected eyes of Yacare caimans lining the banks and channels. They are not scattered, they are layered, stacked, waiting. Every movement in the water sends vibrations that register immediately. Humans in the Pantanal are never alone. They are simply untracked. Entering the water is especially dangerous. Caimans strike from below with explosive force. Piranhas gather around blood or struggling prey, stripping tissue with surgical efficiency. Even stepping onto what appears to be solid ground can collapse into mud or submerged vegetation, immobilizing legs long enough for attention to shift toward the disturbance. Rescue is limited by distance and time. Communication is unreliable. Medical facilities are far away. Injuries that would be survivable elsewhere, bites, infections, fractures, become life-threatening in heat, humidity, and isolation. The Pantanal does not announce its danger, it surrounds it. In daylight, it feels expansive and alive. At night, it reveals what it always was: a system balanced on predation, where survival depends not on strength, but on remaining unnoticed in a place where everything is watching the water. Santiago crater is one of the few places on Earth where the planet exposes its interior without restraint. At the summit of Masaya volcano, the ground simply opens, revealing a lake of molten rock churning just meters below the rim. At night, the crater glows. Violent reds and oranges pulse upward, painting the sky as if something beneath the surface is breathing. 500 years ago, Spanish conquistadors stood here and believed they were looking into hell itself. They named it La Boca del Infierno, the mouth of hell, and planted a wooden cross at the edge, hoping to keep whatever lived below from rising. Symbols do not work here. The lava within Santiago crater exceeds 1,000 degrees Celsius. Heat radiates outward in waves, strong enough to weaken metal and overwhelm protective gear. But heat is not the primary killer. The crater functions as a chimney, releasing massive volumes of sulfur dioxide and other volcanic gases directly into the air. The danger is invisible. Sulfur dioxide has no warning sound and no clear visual boundary. Inhaling it burns the respiratory tract, triggers violent coughing, and causes the lungs to constrict. Prolonged exposure leads to chemical pneumonia, loss of consciousness, and death. Even brief exposure corrodes equipment and damages eyes and skin. Wind conditions decide everything. A sudden shift can funnel gas directly toward the rim, overwhelming anyone standing there within seconds. There is often no time to retreat uphill. The terrain offers little cover, and the steep crater walls trap gas instead of dispersing it. Rescue options are limited. Helicopters cannot safely hover above unstable thermal currents. Ground teams must work within the same toxic environment as the victim, risking secondary casualties. In several incidents, rescuers have been forced to withdraw, leaving recovery for later if conditions allow it at all. Standing at Santiago crater feels less like visiting a mountain and more like confronting a living system. It does not erupt to threaten. It exhales. And in that exhale is a reminder that the Earth does not need violence to kill, only proximity. Along the southern coast of Hawaii's Big Island, creation and destruction happen at the same time. Rivers of lava spill from Kilauea volcano, traveling kilometers from their source before meeting the Pacific Ocean. Where fire reaches water, the planet performs one of its most violent reactions. The shoreline appears alive. Molten rock, burning at over 1,000 degrees Celsius, pours into the sea. Water boils on contact, exploding upward in towering white plumes of steam. To observers, the scene looks almost ceremonial, smoke, light, and sound merging at the edge of the land. What rises into the air is not harmless steam. Locals call it laze, a toxic cloud formed when lava shatters seawater into hydrochloric acid droplets mixed with microscopic shards of volcanic glass. Inhalation feels like breathing ground needles. The acid burns lungs and eyes, while the glass embeds itself deep into tissue, causing lasting damage within minutes. The ground itself cannot be trusted. As lava enters the ocean, it creates new land, flat, black shelves known as lava benches. They look solid, even permanent. In reality, they rest on loose rubble and shifting sand, unsupported from below. Without warning, entire sections can collapse into the sea, taking anyone standing on them directly into boiling water. There is no escape from that fall. Water temperatures near the entry point are instantly lethal. Shock overwhelms the nervous system. Skin burns, muscles seize. Even if a person avoids direct contact with lava, superheated water and acidic spray make survival impossible. Rescue is rarely immediate. Unstable terrain prevents safe access. Toxic air limits how close responders can approach. Conditions change by the minute as lava flow paths shift and benches form and disappear. The Kilauea Ocean entry is not dangerous because it is unpredictable. It is dangerous because it is constantly changing. Here, the Earth builds land by destroying it at the same time. Watching feels safe from a distance, but distance is the only protection that exists. One step too close, and the boundary between observation and extinction collapses as quickly as the ground beneath your feet. At the summit of Poás volcano in Costa Rica lies a lake that looks impossibly calm. Its surface glows an unnatural shade of emerald green, smooth and reflective, like polished glass set inside a volcanic bowl. From a distance, it appears tranquil, almost inviting. That color is the warning. Poás Crater Lake is one of the most acidic natural bodies of water on Earth. Its vivid hue comes from extreme concentrations of dissolved minerals and volcanic chemicals, creating a solution often more corrosive than battery acid. Direct contact does not cause irritation. It causes chemical burns. Flesh breaks down. Metal corrodes. Protective equipment degrades faster than expected. But the lake itself is not the primary threat. Poas is a restless system. Pressure builds beneath the crater as heat, gas, and groundwater interact continuously below the surface. When that balance shifts, the volcano releases energy without notice through phreatic eruptions, violent explosions driven by superheated steam. There is no countdown. In seconds, the calm surface can shatter. Jets of boiling water, rock fragments, and acidic mud blast hundreds of feet into the air. The eruption does not need magma to reach the surface to be lethal. The force alone is enough to kill instantly. The chemistry ensures that anything caught within range is burned, blinded, or suffocated. Visibility offers no protection. Toxic gases, including sulfur dioxide, accumulate in the crater bowl and along observation paths. A sudden change in wind direction can push these gases toward visitors before alarms sound. Breathing becomes painful. Eyes tear uncontrollably. Disorientation follows quickly, reducing the ability to escape uphill terrain. Rescue options are limited by speed. Eruptions happen faster than evacuation protocols can react. Helicopters cannot approach active steam columns. Ground teams risk exposure to the same hazards that incapacitate victims. In several incidents, access has been cut off entirely until the volcano settles again. Poas does not behave like a mountain. It behaves like a sealed container under pressure. The lake's stillness is not stability, it is compression. What looks peaceful is simply energy waiting for release. At Poas volcano, danger does not announce itself with movement or sound. It waits until the moment it doesn't. Ferir, also known as Namafjall, lies at the edge of Lake Mývatn in northern Iceland. From a distance, it looks like a landscape stripped of color and life, bare earth, stained in sulfur yellow, rust red, and ash gray. Steam rises from the ground in thin, constant breaths, as if the land itself is exhaling. This is not scenery, it is a warning system. Ferir sits directly atop an active geothermal field, where heat from the Earth's interior rises close to the surface. The ground here is not solid in any reliable sense. What appears to be firm soil is often nothing more than a thin crust, brittle, unstable, and floating above reservoirs of boiling mud and superheated water. The danger is structural. Step off the marked paths, and the surface can collapse without resistance. Boots punch through crust into clay, hot enough to cause severe burns in seconds. Legs become trapped. Flesh blisters instantly. Victims are immobilized before pain even fully registers, and extraction becomes nearly impossible without specialized equipment. Heat is only part of the threat. Steam vents release hydrogen sulfide, a toxic gas that smells faintly of rotten eggs at low concentrations. At higher levels, the smell disappears, not because the gas is gone, but because it paralyzes the olfactory nerves. Breathing it in large amounts causes rapid respiratory failure and loss of consciousness. In enclosed dips and low-lying areas, the gas can pool invisibly, waiting. The terrain offers no clear signals. The ground hisses. Mud pots bubble rhythmically. Steam clouds shift with the wind, obscuring depth perception and footing. In cold weather, ice forms around vents, masking heat beneath a fragile frozen skin that gives way under weight. Rescue is complicated by exposure. Responders must navigate the same unstable ground while avoiding toxic air and extreme heat. Time matters, but speed increases risk. In some incidents, recovery is delayed until geothermal activity subsides, if it does at all. For Ear is not chaotic. It is methodical. This is the Earth's internal machinery laid bare, operating exactly as intended. The danger does not come from eruption or collapse on a grand scale, but from proximity standing too close, stepping too far, trusting ground that was never meant to carry weight. At Namafjall, the planet is still being built, and it does not pause construction for visitors. Shark Alley is a narrow channel of water off the coast of South Africa, running between Dyer Island and Geyser Rock. On the surface, it looks unremarkable, cold, grey water, broken only by the occasional swell. But beneath that surface lies one of the most concentrated hunting zones on Earth. This is not a crossing, it is a feeding ground. The channel sits beside a dense colony of Cape fur seals, and where seals gather, great white sharks follow. Not one or two, but dozens. At times, hundreds move through this corridor, patrolling with purpose. The water is often murky, limiting visibility to just a few meters. For a shark, that is an advantage. Great white sharks do not chase blindly. They attack from below, accelerating upward with explosive force, striking prey with such speed that their bodies breach the surface completely. A 2-ton predator launching itself into open air is not spectacle, it is efficiency. The impact alone can be fatal before teeth ever make contact. In Shark Alley, humans are physically outmatched in every way. In the water, a person is slow, soft, and poorly adapted. Movement is clumsy. Vision is limited. Sound travels differently. The very traits that allow sharks to hunt electroreception, speed, power, make evasion impossible. There are no barriers here, no safety glass, no controlled distance. Once a shark commits, there is no warning. Attacks are fast, decisive, and often occur from angles victims never see. Severe blood loss follows immediately. Even if the initial strike is not fatal, survival depends on rapid extraction, something rarely achievable in open water with strong currents and limited support. Rescue windows are measured in minutes. Cold water accelerates shock. Panic increases blood flow. Boats must navigate carefully to avoid drawing additional attention, while medics work against time with limited resources. Many incidents end before help can arrive. Shark Alley does not exist for confrontation. It exists for predation. This is a place where humans do not observe nature. They enter it, and in that environment, there is no misunderstanding about hierarchy. In Shark Alley, the ocean does not surround you. It evaluates you. Komodo Island appears still and ancient, baked under the Indonesian sun. Dry grasslands roll toward the coast, broken by low hills and scattered trees. At first glance, it feels empty, quiet enough to suggest safety. That impression is a mistake. This island is not uninhabited. It is occupied. Komodo Island is home to the Komodo dragon, the largest living lizard on Earth. Reaching over 3 meters in length and weighing more than 100 kilograms, these animals are not relics struggling to survive. They are apex predators, perfectly adapted to dominate their environment. Their movements are deceptive. Komodo dragons often appear slow, conserving energy under the heat. But in short bursts, they can sprint faster than the average human. More importantly, they do not rely on speed alone. Their strength lies in patience and chemistry. For decades, it was believed that Komodo dragons killed through infection, their mouths filled with dangerous bacteria. Modern research revealed something far more efficient. They possess venom glands that deliver a potent cocktail of toxins with a single bite, anticoagulants that prevent blood clotting, compounds that induce shock, and agents that rapidly lower blood pressure. The bite does not need to be fatal immediately. A wounded animal or human may escape initially. The dragon does not pursue recklessly, it follows. Komodo dragons can track the scent of blood for kilometers, moving steadily, conserving energy, waiting. As venom spreads through the bloodstream, weakness sets in. Dizziness, loss of coordination, collapse. By the time the predator arrives again, resistance is minimal. Attacks on humans are rare, but severe. Victims often suffer catastrophic blood loss within minutes. In remote areas of the island, medical response times are long, and anti-venom options are limited. Even minor injuries become dangerous in heat and isolation. Rescue is complicated by terrain and distance. Komodo Island is not designed for quick evacuation. Paths are rough, communication can fail. Rangers carry deterrence, but even they treat encounters with caution, never turning their backs, never assuming control. Komodo dragons do not attack out of malice. They hunt because the island has taught them to. On Komodo Island, survival depends on understanding a simple truth. You are not visiting a park. You are stepping into an ecosystem where evolution has already decided who belongs at the top, and it is not you. Cape Tribulation sits where two ancient systems collide. On one side, the Coral Sea. On the other, the oldest tropical rainforest on Earth. From above, it looks like paradise emerald canopy spilling onto white sand, sunlight filtering through prehistoric ferns. On the ground, it is a layered trap. Danger comes from every direction. In the forest, the most immediate threat is botanical. The gimpy plant grows quietly among the undergrowth, its broad, heart-shaped leaves easy to brush against on a narrow trail. Contact delivers a neurotoxin through thousands of microscopic hairs. The pain is immediate and extreme, described as burning acid combined with electric shock, and it does not fade quickly. In severe cases, it can last for weeks or months. Resisting conventional pain treatment, move carefully, and the danger changes shape. Cassowaries patrol the forest floor large, territorial birds equipped with dagger-like claws, capable of disemboweling an adult with a single kick. They do not bluff. Encounters escalate fast, especially during breeding season or when food is present. Dense vegetation limits visibility, reducing reaction time to seconds. Instinct suggests the beach is safer. It is not. The shallow coastal waters are hunting grounds for saltwater crocodiles, apex predators capable of explosive ambush from beneath the surface. At the same time, box jellyfish drift invisibly through the surf. Their transparent tentacles carry venom powerful enough to stop a human heart in minutes. There is often no pain, at first only sudden collapse. Even the waterline offers no refuge. Tides shift quickly. Rivers swell without warning after inland rain. What appears to be a calm crossing can deepen into fast-moving water in moments, isolating hikers and vehicles alike. Communication is limited. Medical facilities are distant. Extraction depends on weather, daylight, and luck. Cape Tribulation does not concentrate danger into a single feature. It distributes it. Forest, shore, and sea overlap here, removing the option to retreat towards safety. Every choice funnels you toward another risk, another predator, another toxin. Survival is not about bravery. It is about restraint. At Cape Tribulation, nature does not test you with spectacle. It surrounds you with quiet certainty. There is no safe direction, only the one you have not taken yet. Kagari, also known as Fraser Island, stretches along the coast of Queensland as a vast ribbon of sand, golden beaches, freshwater lakes, and rainforests growing directly out of dunes. From a distance, it looks impossibly gentle, a place shaped by wind and water, open and welcoming. That openness is deceptive. Kagari is the largest sand island in the world, and sand is not a stable foundation. Roads here are not roads in the conventional sense. Vehicles drive directly along the beach, where tides erase tracks and the surface shifts by the hour. A misjudged tide or a mechanical failure can leave a car stranded as waves move in, cutting off escape with surprising speed. The ocean is not an alternative. Strong rip currents dominate the shoreline, pulling swimmers away from land with little effort. Offshore, the waters are frequented by tiger sharks and great white sharks, drawn close by shifting sandbars and prey. Entering the sea here is not recreation, it is exposure, but the danger follows visitors onto dry land. Kagari is home to one of the purest populations of dingoes in Australia. These are not feral dogs. They are wild apex predators that retain their natural hunting instincts and show little fear of humans. Dingoes observe quietly from a distance, testing behavior, identifying weakness. Incidents often begin without warning. An isolated hiker, a child, moving ahead of a group, food left unsecured. Attacks escalate quickly. Once a dingo commits, it does not bluff. Bites target limbs and the neck. Multiple animals may join in, surrounding from different angles. In remote sections of the island, help can be hours away. Injuries that might be survivable elsewhere become critical under heat, distance, and blood loss. History reinforces the risk. The rusting hull of the SS Maheno, stranded on the eastern beach for decades, stands as a reminder that Kagari keeps what it catches. Ships, vehicles, people who underestimate how fast conditions can change. Kagari does not rely on a single lethal feature. It combines isolation, shifting terrain, predators, and water into one system. The island feels alive because it is constantly moving. And in that movement, safety is temporary. On Kagari, survival depends not on strength or confidence, but on understanding that the sand beneath your feet is never truly still. Ilha de Queimada Grande rises from the Atlantic off the coast of Brazil like an untouched emerald. Dense forest, steep cliffs. From a distance, it appears pristine, almost inviting. That appearance is precisely why access is forbidden. This island is not empty. It is saturated. Ilha da Queimada Grande is home to the golden lancehead viper, one of the most venomous snakes on Earth. Isolated here for thousands of years by rising sea levels, the species evolved without natural predators and without ground prey. The result was not decline, but specialization. The snakes adapted upward, golden lanceheads hunt birds, striking mid-air as prey lands or takes off from branches. To make that strategy viable, their venom became exceptionally potent, designed to immobilize and kill quickly before prey can escape. The toxin causes rapid tissue destruction, internal bleeding, and nervous system failure. In untreated cases, death can occur in under an hour. What makes the island uniquely dangerous is density. Estimates vary, but in some areas there may be multiple venomous snakes within a single square meter. They are not clustered in one zone. They occupy the canopy, the forest floor, the rocks, and the undergrowth. Looking down does not make you safe. Looking up does not either. Movement becomes impossible to manage. Every step risks placing a foot within striking distance. Every handhold may already be occupied. Even standing still is not protection. Snakes coil in branches at head height, camouflaged against leaves and bark, striking downward when disturbed. There is no realistic rescue window. The Brazilian Navy prohibits civilian access for a reason. Medical evacuation from the island would take too long for antivenom to be effective. Helicopters have limited landing options. Boats face strong currents and steep shores. A bite here is not an emergency, it is a conclusion. Ilha da Queimada Grande does not ambush visitors. It overwhelms them through proximity. This is not a place where danger hides. It is everywhere at once, distributed so densely that avoidance becomes impossible. The island does not test awareness or skill. It tests probability, and the odds are fixed. On Snake Island, survival is not about what you do, it is about the fact that you are there at all. Oymyakon sits deep in the Siberian interior, far from oceans, mountains, or any natural shelter. On a map, it is just a name in an expanse of white. In reality, it is one of the coldest permanently inhabited places on Earth. A settlement that exists at the edge of what the human body can endure. Here, winter is not a season, it is a condition. Temperatures in Oymyakon have been recorded as low as -71 degrees Celsius. At that threshold, cold is no longer discomfort. It becomes a mechanical force. Exposed skin freezes in minutes. Eyelashes crystallize with every blink. Metal burns to the touch, pulling heat from flesh faster than nerves can register pain. The air itself is hostile. Each breath draws in air so cold and dry that it threatens the lungs. Moisture inside the respiratory tract can freeze, triggering violent coughing and chest pain. Prolonged exposure risks frost injury deep within the airways, turning breathing into a physical struggle rather than an automatic reflex. Technology offers limited protection. Vehicles are kept running around the clock. An engine shut off is an engine that may never restart. A stalled car on the roads outside the village is not an inconvenience, it is a death sentence. With no shelter, no traffic, and no immediate rescue, survival time collapses rapidly as body heat drains into the environment. Cold degrades judgment. As core temperature drops, confusion sets in. Movements slow, decision-making falters. Victims often underestimate how badly they are affected until coordination fails completely. By the time hypothermia is recognized, self-rescue is no longer possible. Medical response is constrained by the same conditions. Equipment fails, transport is delayed. Even simple injuries become dangerous when healing slows and infection risk rises. In extreme cold, the margin between survival and death narrows to minutes. Oymyakon does not threaten with sudden violence. It erodes. It strips heat, strength, and clarity from the body with methodical precision. There is no dramatic moment of failure, only gradual shutdown, system by system. As biology loses its battle against physics, people live here because they have adapted. Visitors survive only if they respect a simple truth. In Oymyakon, the cold does not care how prepared you think you are. It only measures how long you can last without making a single mistake. Svalbard sits far above the Arctic Circle, halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole. From a distance, it looks orderly, colorful houses, quiet streets, a town carved neatly into snow and rock. But this appearance hides a fundamental rule of survival. Outside the settlement, humans are not in control. Svalbard exists in the domain of the polar bear, the largest land predator on Earth. These animals are not rare visitors. They outnumber the human population and roam freely across the archipelago, moving silently over ice, tundra, and frozen coastline. In this environment, people are not perceived as a threat. They are perceived as prey. Polar bears are highly intelligent hunters, adapted to stalk and kill in vast open spaces. They can smell food or blood from kilometers away. They are fast over short distances, powerful enough to crush bone with a single bite, and patient enough to follow a target for hours. Fences and warning signs do not deter them. Doors and walls only slow them down. This reality is written into law. Anyone leaving the limits of Longyearbyen is legally required to carry a firearm. Not for sport, not for reassurance, for last resort defense. Even then, encounters can unfold too quickly to react. Many attacks occur without warning, in poor visibility, or during routine travel between locations that appear close on a map. Cold amplifies every risk. Sub-zero temperatures reduce dexterity and reaction time. Heavy clothing limits movement, weapons jam. Communication devices fail. If a bear charges, distance disappears in seconds, and escape options are limited by terrain and fatigue. Rescue is uncertain. The landscape is vast, and response times are long. Weather grounds helicopters. Darkness can last for months. In some cases, help arrives only after the outcome is already decided. What makes Svalbard uniquely dangerous is not the presence of predators alone. It is the reversal of roles. Here, humans retreat indoors after dark. Buildings are reinforced. Windows are watched. Outside, the Arctic belongs to something older, stronger, and perfectly adapted to kill in silence. Svalbard does not feel threatening at first. That is the final mistake. In this frozen territory, survival depends on constant awareness and the acceptance that beyond the town's edge, you are no longer the dominant species. Cahill's Crossing looks deceptively simple. A concrete causeway stretching across the East Alligator River in Australia's Northern Territory. No gates, no barriers, no dramatic warning signs visible from a distance. Just a road that disappears into brown, slow-moving water. That simplicity is the trap. This crossing sits in one of the most concentrated saltwater crocodile habitats on Earth. The river here is not just a body of water, it is a feeding corridor. During high tide, seawater pushes inland, carrying schools of barramundi upstream. The fish gather at the crossing. And where the fish stop, the crocodiles wait. They line the road. Massive saltwater crocodiles, some over 5 meters long, congregate shoulder to shoulder, floating just beneath the surface. Their eyes and nostrils break the waterline, motionless. To an approaching driver, the river looks calm, but the stillness is intentional. Crossing at the wrong moment is not a mistake, it is a gamble. As tide levels rise, water flows rapidly over the causeway. Vehicles enter, believing momentum is enough. But engines stall, tires lose traction, electronics fail. A stopped vehicle becomes an island in the middle of a feeding frenzy. Stepping outside is not an option. Staying inside is not safe either. Crocodiles are drawn to vibration. Struggling engines, sloshing water, movement inside the vehicle, all of it signals opportunity. Crocodiles strike upward with explosive force, capable of crushing doors, shattering windows, and pulling bodies through openings no wider than a shoulder. Rescue depends entirely on timing. Rangers monitor the crossing, but response is not instant. Conditions change by the minute. At peak tide, boats cannot safely approach without entering the same danger zone. Helicopters face limited landing options and visibility challenges over water and mangroves. Many incidents end without witnesses. Vehicles are later recovered downstream, sometimes damaged, sometimes empty. The river does not explain what happened. Cahill's Crossing is often called the most dangerous road intersection in the world, not because people underestimate the risk, but because the risk waits patiently for compliance. This is not a road you conquer. It is a place where the rules belong entirely to something older than asphalt and engines. At Cahill's Crossing, survival depends on one decision: knowing when to turn around before the river decides for you. North Sentinel Island lies in the Bay of Bengal, ringed by turquoise water and bright coral reefs. From the air, it looks untouched, an emerald patch isolated from the modern world. But this island is not uninhabited, and it is not neutral ground. It is defended. North Sentinel is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. Anthropologists believe they have lived in near-total isolation for as long as 60,000 years. During that time, they have made one decision consistently and without exception: outsiders are not welcome. This is not a misunderstanding. It is a policy. Any attempt to approach the island has been met with immediate hostility. Boats that drift too close are fired upon with arrows. Fishermen who accidentally landed on the shore never returned. In 2018, a missionary who illegally traveled to the island was killed shortly after stepping onto the beach. His body never recovered. The danger here is deliberate. Unlike natural hazards that kill through indifference, North Sentinel Island presents a human threat that is conscious, coordinated, and final. The Sentinelese do not warn repeatedly. They do not negotiate. They act quickly to remove what they perceive as a threat to their survival. There is a second layer of risk. Contact does not endanger only the visitor. It endangers the tribe. Lacking immunity to modern diseases, even a common cold could devastate the Sentinelese population. For this reason, the Indian government enforces a strict exclusion zone of several kilometers around the island, patrolled and legally protected. Rescue is not an option. Authorities will not intervene in illegal landings, both to respect the tribe's autonomy and to avoid escalation. Once someone crosses the boundary, they are entirely on their own, without support, extraction, or negotiation. North Sentinel Island is one of the few places left on Earth where the map is effectively blank. Not because it is unknown, but because it is closed. This island does not kill by accident. It kills by choice. And in a world increasingly defined by access and exposure, North Sentinel stands as a rare boundary that cannot be crossed safely, ethically, or successfully. Pripyat is a city frozen at a precise moment in time. Apartments stand open. Classrooms remain filled with gas masks sized for children. A Ferris wheel rusts in silence, never having carried a single passenger. On the surface, it feels abandoned, but abandonment is not the same as safety. This is the Chernobyl exclusion zone. In April 1986, reactor number 4 failed catastrophically, releasing massive amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. What followed was not an explosion that killed instantly, but an invisible contamination that settled into soil, buildings, forests, and bodies. Nearly 40 years later, that contamination remains. Radiation does not announce itself. It has no color, no smell, no sensation at the moment of exposure. A person can stand in a field of wildflowers, feel nothing unusual, and still receive a dose capable of damaging DNA, suppressing bone marrow, and increasing cancer risk years later. Some areas are relatively safe, others, only meters away, are not. The danger is uneven. Hotspots persist, where radioactive particles concentrated after the accident. One step off a designated path can spike radiation levels dramatically. Moss, dust, and decaying leaves trap contamination. A gust of wind or a disturbed surface can reintroduce particles into the air, where they are inhaled before anyone realizes exposure has occurred. Deep inside the ruined reactor building lies the Elephant's Foot, a mass of corium-melted nuclear fuel mixed with concrete and metals so radioactive that even brief exposure once meant certain death. Today it is less lethal, but still dangerous, a reminder of how concentrated the hazard remains beneath the surface. Rescue offers little reassurance. Radiation injuries are not treated at the site. Symptoms may not appear for hours or days. By the time nausea, weakness, and internal damage become apparent, exposure has already occurred. The environment keeps its secret long after contact ends. Pripyat does not feel violent. That is what makes it dangerous. Nature has reclaimed streets and buildings, softening the ruins with greenery. But beneath that growth lies a legacy that cannot be seen or negotiated with. The city is quiet because the threat is not active, it is persistent. In the exclusion zone, the past never ended. It simply became invisible. And the cost of forgetting that is paid slowly, inside the body, long after the visit is over. The Australian outback does not announce itself with cliffs, storms, or predators. It opens instead into distance, an expanse so wide and quiet that the horizon feels fixed in place, no matter how long you drive toward it. In the heart of this red emptiness rises Uluru, a massive sandstone monolith glowing like a dying ember at sunset. The danger here is not sudden, it is separation. Roads run thin and straight across millions of square kilometers. Traffic is sparse. Cell service fades without warning. A mechanical failure in this environment is not a delay, it is the beginning of a countdown. Without water, survival time shortens rapidly under temperatures that routinely exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Heat distorts perception. Sweat evaporates before it can cool the body, masking dehydration. Fatigue sets in early. Judgment degrades quietly, convincing people to walk for help rather than stay with their vehicle. Often the worst possible decision. Distances that appear manageable stretch endlessly under shimmering heat haze, pulling travelers farther from shelter with every step. Uluru itself adds another layer of risk. To the Anangu people, it is a sacred site tied to the origins of the world. To outsiders, it often becomes a landmark that suggests proximity to safety. That assumption is dangerous. The land surrounding Uluru offers little shade, few reliable water sources, and minimal infrastructure. Weather can change quickly, and rescue response times are measured in hours, sometimes days. Night does not bring relief. Temperatures drop sharply, increasing the risk of hypothermia in dehydrated bodies. Darkness erases landmarks. Navigation becomes guesswork across terrain that looks identical in every direction. Disorientation compounds exhaustion, turning simple choices into fatal ones. Rescue depends on chance. Search areas are vast. Tracks vanish under wind and dust. If a vehicle is not found quickly, the likelihood of survival decreases with each passing hour. Many recoveries end not with rescue, but with discovery too late to change the outcome. The Australian outback does not hunt. It does not trap. It removes connection. Uluru stands as a reminder of scale, of how small a person becomes when systems of support disappear. In this landscape, survival depends not on courage or endurance, but on restraint, knowing when not to go farther, when to stop, and when to respect a land that offers no margin for being alone. The outback does not punish mistakes, it simply outlasts them. The places you have just seen are not cursed, and they are not cruel. They are simply the earth behaving as it always has. Ice moves, heat accumulates, oceans circulate, predators hunt, radiation lingers. None of these forces require intention, and none of them recognize human confidence as protection. They respond only to physics, biology, chemistry, and time. What makes these places dangerous is not hostility, but misunderstanding. Humans are experts at navigating systems we built ourselves. In environments shaped long before us, those skills lose value. Experience fades, strength becomes irrelevant, and being alone removes the final margin for error. These are not destinations to conquer, they are boundaries. Each one marks a point where rescue cannot arrive fast enough, where mistakes cannot be reversed, and where nature does not adjust for human presence. Survival here is not about courage or ambition. It is about restraint, knowing when not to step forward. The Earth does not remember those who pass through safely. It only absorbs those who do not. The lesson behind these places is not fear, but humility. Not avoidance, but awareness. Beauty does not mean safety, and silence does not mean permission. Because in a world that does not compromise, walking alone is not freedom, it is exposure. The planet will continue exactly as it is. The only question is whether we choose to understand it before crossing a line that does not allow a way back.